Downtown Fargo, where culture, creativity, and community collide. You've heard the headlines. Now hear what's really happening. Bringing the best of Broadway direct to you. The stories, the people, and the places that make downtown the heartbeat of our city. This is Rocky's Downtown Hour with Rocky Schneider.
Happy Friday, everybody. This is Rocky Schneider on Rocky's Downtown Hour. I'm the Executive Director of the Downtown Community Partnership, and every Friday we bring you what's happening downtown, and I'm excited today because we have a special guest with us today that's going to be on later in the show, our new first ever Miss Downtown Fargo, Brynn Olson. So last weekend we had a pageant downtown. It was at the Fargo Theater, and there was a crowning, and we had crowned a Miss Fargo and a Miss Downtown Fargo, and we're just really excited. And so we're going to talk about Brynn later. We're also going to talk about her community service initiative and somebody from Bio Girls as well to talk about what they're doing in our community. Really excited about that. We got a lot going on downtown this weekend. Of course, the Red River Market. It's Growers Day tomorrow at the Red River Market. Starts 10 a.m. If you haven't been to the Red River Market this season, this is my favorite time now as the growers really start to shine and harvest time comes and you start getting those fall goodies. I always talk about borscht on the show because I feel like it's an underappreciated soup. And so I love borscht, so it's beet season coming up here, and that's a great place to get your veggies. We also have a survey on right now that hopefully a lot of people have filled out. I think we have like 300 people that have filled it out. We're updating some amenities downtown. So my role at the DCP, we're in charge of the Business Improvement District. So it's a special taxing district that every business in downtown Fargo pays an extra tax, which is a little known fact. That's why we have some of the amenities we do, like the Christmas tree lights. We have trash cans out there in the public. We have benches. We have seating. We have Broadway Square, a number of other things we're involved with through the Business Improvement District. And we're going through a refresh right now. Had a fun little exercise on Google Images. If you haven't gone on Google, you can scroll back and look at what the same imagery looked like. And I think in downtown, it goes back to 2007. So you can pull up where all of our amenities are along Broadway and look back, okay, what was this like when they first put them in? And I think they put them in earlier than that even in some cases, but you can go back to 2007 and see, Broadway Square wasn't there. The RDO Tower wasn't there. The 300 building next to the Fargo Theater was a parking lot. The Kessler building, the Rocco building, the Dillard building, all these buildings were just parking lots prior. And so the way we laid things out made sense back then, and they don't necessarily make sense now. So we're at the point where we're updating a lot of things. We painted the street lights on Broadway this summer, and now we're working on figuring out, okay, how do we modernize things a little bit? I'm really excited about our what we call wayfinding signs. So we did a big survey about what people want to see when they travel somewhere. It's partly what you want to see locally, but also if you're visiting somewhere else, what do you want to see? You want to see a map, you want to have contact information, know where art murals are, maybe where museums are, where NDSU is, the hospital maybe, or where public restrooms are. And so we did a survey. It's still out there. If you can't find it, it's on the Inform that they posted about it. But we had a 60% rating of good or excellent for the amenities downtown, with 40% saying needs improvement or fair. And so we're trying to figure out, okay, what does that mean? Because I know some of the biggest fans of downtown still said needs improvement. So I like the high bar we set for ourselves downtown. But we looked at things on the wayfinding, and restrooms were the number one topic where people want to know where the restrooms are. A little known fact that the DCP we actually operate the only public restrooms in downtown Fargo at Broadway Square, and then one porta potty behind the Engagement Center. And so every day we have a team that cleans up and staffs the bathrooms at Broadway Square and tries to keep it open as much as we can. And so we're responsible for that and all the things that comes along with. But people also focused on parking, of course. It's downtown, and so figuring out where the parking ramps are as a new one comes online right next to the community theater here in a couple weeks. We're excited for that. Adds another few hundred parking spots. And then we also looked at what are the priorities? What should the priorities be for those of us working to improve downtown? And the number one priority was 70% of the people said lighting. And so lighting was a big issue downtown, and we know that people will walk where it's light, especially in this time of year where it starts to get dark pretty early. When you leave work, it starts to get dark, and it's always kind of sad and depressing. But if it's lit up, we know that's positive. And my favorite thing about downtown, that they're already up actually, is the Christmas tree lights all up and down Broadway. We spend a considerable amount of money making sure our holiday looks amazing downtown, and we have a Window Wonderland event coming up this fall to really highlight all the shops, and the windows will be all decorated. So want to give you that holiday, free holiday feel coming downtown, and you'll see those lights on at night now. And that's fun. We also had public art on there and keeping trash and cleanliness, and along with just the feeling of safety was high up on there too. And a lot of comments about wanting to see, police officers on foot. I know we got the new electric trikes this year downtown that have been really effective working with them, but we like to see officers out there walking around and greeting people too. People love saying hi to their officers. And then we asked about benches. So benches are always a hot topic. We have a lot of them on Broadway. There's like 59 benches. We moved a couple of them. And so we sent them in to get repainted. They're a little bit worse for wear, I guess. So we're going to send them in for some maintenance and some love. And then we have identified 20 locations where we can expand seating downtown. So right now it's pretty walkable on Broadway and Main Avenue. And then you get off that and you kind of lose all public seating. So we're looking at a couple places where we can put those to really make all of downtown walkable beyond Broadway, and then work to add garbage cans and other cleanliness things people are looking for. And so we're responding and also getting information. Right now is a big meeting going on. I wish I could be at as well, but there's a parking meeting at the city of Fargo all about downtown parking. They're in the middle of a downtown parking study now that new ramps are online, and there's a new one coming online. They wanted to say, okay, do we need more parking ramps? Do we need to change diagonal parking versus parallel parking? How much parking is adequate, the costs of parking, all those different things. So there's a meeting going on. I encourage everybody to watch it on YouTube, on City of Fargo's YouTube after the fact, if you care about parking, and weigh in on it, because that's the only way things change. But coming up, we have Brynn Olson, which we're very excited about. And if you haven't ever been to a pageant, I was at my first pageant ever last Saturday, and I got to be a judge. And so I had to learn all sorts of things, but I knew how to give interviews. And so we had a private interview portion where we got to interview, 10 contestants and for the Miss category, and I think 2 for the teen category. And it was, a wide range of people and ladies involved in this and doing all sorts of neat things. And it was fun to hear their sort of passions and what they're looking forward to getting out of this competition. And it was neat. It was fun to see the audience. We probably had 200 or 300 people in the audience. I don't really know how many. I didn't ask. So it looked like about 200-300. My daughter was there with a bunch of friends. I saw a bunch of other people I knew, and obviously a lot of just guests and friends and family of all the contestants. And so it was a lot of fun to see people dressed up, have a good time. I was most excited for the talent portion because I had no idea what to expect, and there wasn't, you kind of expected people to sing, right? That's like the talent you hear most often, and that's actually what won the talent, the best talent part, and that happened to be Miss Downtown Fargo. So that was great, won the talent portion. But there was some other fun talents in there that you didn't really expect. There was like a stand-up comedy. There was a tap dance to Footloose, which was really cool. And so, yeah, it was kind of neat. And I encourage people to check it out next time it comes around. And we are going to be coming back with Brynn to hear all about how she entered this competition, why, what does it mean to be Miss Downtown Fargo, and what's next? How can we help her along that journey? So when we come back, we're going to have Brynn Olson up with us. So see you all in a couple minutes. Welcome back, everybody. I'm feeling a little underdressed in the studio today because with us we have our Miss Downtown Fargo, who's here in her crown and is looking very glittery and fabulous. And so Brynn Olson is joining us. Brynn, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so who is Brynn Olson? Where'd you come from?
Yes, I'm actually originally from Thief River Falls, Minnesota, which is about 2 hours away from Fargo. And I grew up there and I loved it so much living in that small town. But then I came to college in Fargo, and it's very different living here in kind of the big city, definitely compared to where I'm from. And right now I'm a student at NDSU. I'm pursuing a degree in marketing. So very excited to be in the College of Business this year and really pursuing my dreams with that.
That's awesome. So are you downtown at Berry Hall a lot now?
I am. I have many classes there, and especially next semester, I'm going to have even more.
That's fun. Yeah, I got an MBA at Berry Hall. And so I started back when I think it was at Putnam Hall, which was not a very great building. And then, yeah, Berry Hall's way better, and it's downtown, which is fun. So Miss Downtown Fargo, congratulations, first of all.
Thank you so much.
You were wonderful. It was awesome to watch. It was fun to be part, it's fun when you get to be a judge because people, that's what we all get to be at home when we watch shows.
Right.
And so now it's like you can be ruthless behind the scenes and just keep a straight face.
You can. You should see us
Simon
watching
Cowell
Miss
has
America.
not,
It's so
Simon Cowell
fun.
has not called yet, but I'm waiting for it. So
I know, me too. We should get him on the panel.
right. Okay, so what is Miss America pageant? What's the organization?
So we live on the basis of empowering women to pursue their educational and professional goals. And we empower women through their speaking abilities and mostly being able to go out and talk on stage, but not just on stage, talk in communities and have so much networking and be able to pursue their dreams through building those professional skills. And we also get scholarships through this organization. I personally have gained over $5,000 in scholarships, which have gone straight towards my tuition, and it's been so helpful for me.
So this is not your first pageant.
No, it is not. I actually started in the Miss America opportunity when I was 6 years old.
Wow.
At Little Miss Thief River. We don't have many Little Miss pageants anymore, but we do have something called the Little Sisters program, which is so special to us because that's where I started. And you get paired up with either a teen or a miss who's competing for state that year. And they are kind of like your mentor. And I still stay connected to my 3 miss that I had so many years ago. And so it's so special to see that sister bond from the very beginning.
Yeah, it's the one thing I don't think they teach early enough is how powerful a network is. We all know as we get adults, your network is your worth, right? They say your network is your net worth, is the fun business saying. And so, yeah, this is just one more way to get your experience out there. And so last year you actually have a crown as well. Did you get a crown last year for that?
I did. So, and I got to keep it, of course. But so I've actually held 4 local teen titles for Minnesota. And then I competed at state 4 times for Minnesota's teen. And last year I won. And so I got to spend the whole year serving as Miss Minnesota's Teen 2024. And I got to compete at Miss America's Teen, which was honestly the experience of a lifetime. I have never experienced anything like it. And I grew up watching Miss America on the screen. And so being able to actually live out that dream was incredible.
So how many were in the competition in Minnesota? Because it's a lot bigger state than North Dakota, obviously.
Yeah, so it kind of fluctuates depending on the year. I think my year we had 12, but this past year we really worked in our recruitment and we got up to 17 girls. So
wow. Yeah,
that was super nice.
How many pageants are there in North Dakota now? Because we have 4 new ones, right? And from Fargo now. And so Sophia Richards did a great job bringing this to me and putting this together with Rachel as well. And so putting together this amazing pageant. And so how many do we have in North Dakota?
I think we have 5 or 6 local competitions, but each competition can give out multiple crowns. So it really just depends on the year. The numbers go up and down, depend on how many girls are competing for that title. But if you don't get the chance to compete at a local competition and you still want to compete for state, you can go at large. And so there's so many different opportunities where you can get involved in this organization.
Okay, so you had 9 competitors, I guess, 10 contestants. You won, Miss Downtown Fargo, but you also won some individual awards. What'd you end up winning throughout the contest?
Yeah, so I tied with 2 other girls for evening gown, and then I won fitness and I won talent, which I was super happy about the talent because doing pageants for so many years. I started with my first talent as hula hooping when I was 6 years old. And then it kind of changed. I sang some, I played the ukulele and sang. And then for the last many years, I've danced, and I danced at Miss America's Teen. And so really finding my confidence and comfortability back in singing has been kind of a personal journey for me. So to be able to take home the winner of talent was such an incredible experience for me and an accomplishment.
And so what'd you sing?
I sang Santa Fe from Newsies, and I actually love musicals. I grew up doing theater, and I got the chance to go to New York City and go to a bunch of different Broadway plays. And so it was so fun to be able to showcase kind of my background in musical theater.
That's amazing. And one of the other judges was from NDSU's associate director, Jess Young from NDSU, and I got to collaborate with her because I run Broadway Square in the summer, and so we're hoping to bring some of that NDSU performances downtown too. It'd be fun to have musicals at Broadway Square.
Yeah, I know. I went to some of their plays last year, and they're so fun. They do a lot of hard work.
So you got the hat trick, and then the big win. So that's awesome. Okay, so what's a CSI? Because it's not just a TV show. When your world, I had to relearn acronyms because I'm like, what is a CSI? I had to whisper to the other judges, and so
yes.
Go ahead.
So CSI is kind of the basis of what all of us are so passionate about. So it stands for Community Service Initiative. So mine personally is called Bio Girls, Beautiful Inside and Out. And that's a nonprofit organization that I have paired with since I was 15 years old. And so each girl has a CSI, and it can go really any direction they want. They can pair with an existing organization. Some girls create their own organization. Sometimes they're just advocates for a certain cause or maybe a sickness or a disease or a certain issue in today's age. And so we all do so much work in promoting and helping our CSI. We raise money for them. And then you also talk about it a lot throughout your year and use your platform to really advocate for it.
So how does that work throughout the year? What do you mean? What's your platform? How are you going to get this out to people? And where are we going to see you at?
Yeah, so throughout the year, promoting my platform, Community Service Initiative, Bio Girls, is something that's super important to me. And one thing that I do is I actually get right into it and be a mentor. I've been a mentor 4 times for Bio Girls, and last year I got to be a mentor for the first time in Fargo. And so it was super cool to see how they do it in a different town. And I do some things like going to different community events and just sharing about what Bio Girls is, because I think the biggest thing about people learning about Bio Girls is getting the word out there, word of mouth, posting on social media, and helping to show people what the basis of our organization is doing and how we're doing so much help for young girls. I think that will really get people involved.
So if people want to follow your journey, how do they do that?
I have a few Instagram accounts. So my personal one is Miss Brynn Olson. And then my Downtown Fargo account, which it's a new account, so I'm really working to grow it for the next girl. This is a traveling account. So if you want to stay up to date on who the next Miss Fargo is too this next year, you can follow Miss Downtown Fargo ND. And that you can see so many different things of what each title holder is doing downtown.
And that's good. You get to set the platform for everybody else, to set the
Yes.
standard. I love it. And I have a Holiday Lights Parade, our Excel Energy Holiday Lights Parade on December 6th coming up, and you'll have a special float there and get to help lead that parade. And we'll come up with some other fun ideas downtown to show off your platform along the way and highlight downtown. Okay, so we're gonna ask about downtown because you're an NDSU student. You came from Thief River Falls. Like a lot of people that come to NDSU, you're coming from a smaller town to the bigger city, and our downtown is not huge compared to across the nation, but in this region, it's the downtown. And so, what's your experiences with downtown so far?
Yeah, so I think coming to a big town from a small town, which I think is a really common experience to a lot of NDSU students, it's really fun to have a downtown to go to and to go to all these fun community events and really see how a big town can come together, because we all know in a small town there is kind of a tight-knit community, and being able to see how broad that can be here is so exciting. And then being an NDSU student, I feel like we can bring a lot of traction to so many different small businesses and companies downtown. And so I'm really happy to share with many more NDSU students about downtown and hopefully get these businesses some extra traction going.
Yeah, that's what I love about our downtown. You hear it on this show a lot, but we're all small businesses. It's not a super big city with a lot of chain restaurants and things. It's all local shop owners, and the relationship with NDSU has been so amazing because we have Renaissance Hall and Berry Hall and Cly Hall downtown, and that provides workforce, provides customers on a regular basis, reason for art and culture when you have young people around too. So that connection's just been great for both, I think, campuses and downtown as well. So I'm going to ask you a trick question. So what's your favorite place downtown to go?
Ooh, I really love to go to Tea and Crepe. Okay. I love boba, and we don't have any of that in my small town. I have to drive at least an hour to go get boba, and I just can't make it the same way at home. And so I love going there with my friends. It's so much fun.
Yeah, so you're 19, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like if you ask any teenager, they will all say boba places. So,
yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, I love it. So my daughter gets the popping bobas. I like the tapioca pearls, and so we have this debate in our house over which one's better. But what do you go with, tapioca pearls or popping bobas?
Okay, whenever I go there, I always get the tapioca pearls because I like to get the milk tea with it. Mm-hmm. But if I get some sort of like fruity tea, I'll get the popping boba because you just have to add more fruitiness.
My daughter helped do a TikTok for us and her friends, so she's 13, and they went around trying to find the best places to study in downtown Fargo, and so they did this TikTok. But that's where I usually see college students, is at all the coffee shops with their books and pretending to study or whatever.
Pretending maybe just there for the scenery, especially the cute ones like Atomic Coffee. I just went there the other day, and it's so cute in there. Love it.
Yeah, I always like to ask people what their favorite coffee shop is, and then just to practice judging, I judge them based off what their favorite coffee shop is, because there's a different vibe at each one for sure.
There is. I need to choose my favorites.
Yeah, and I go to different ones for different reasons, and I love that.
I think
Shouldn't
that's
say more, I get
universal.
myself in trouble, and so I'm actually drinking Starbucks right now, but don't tell anybody downtown. So
Right.
It was on the way here.
You got to support local.
Right. Well, Brynn, we're very excited to have you. And when we come back, we're going to be joined by Macy Kramer, who's the marketing director at BioGirls, and we'll talk more about your CSI with her. Welcome back, everybody, to Rocky's Downtown Hour. I'm joined in studio today with Macy Kramer, the marketing director of BioGirls. Welcome, Macy.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, we also have our new Miss Downtown Fargo, Brynn Olson, and so we're going to talk about BioGirls. So, Macy, tell us, what is BioGirls?
Yes, so BIO stands for Beautiful Inside and Out. We are a nonprofit based out of Fargo, North Dakota. However, we impact girls across a 5-state region. Essentially, our mission is to improve the mental health of adolescent girls through empowerment of self and connection with others.
So how many cities is BioGirls in?
Gosh, it changes all the time.
Yeah.
We're in the time of year where new interest is coming in from different program locations, but we're sitting around 120 this year alone.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have the answer, so you could have said anything. It was okay. There's no wrong answers when I don't have a cheat sheet, so that's good. So, okay, how do you do that? How does BioGirls do that?
So we have a program, and it is volunteer facilitated, and what it looks like is it's a 90-minute session, and they meet 12 different times. And so I can kind of illustrate what that session looks like for you. Girls come in, we start with a large group lesson, and so those typically tie into our pillars that we teach. From there, it breaks out into small groups, and so this is where girls get to connect with mentors that are volunteers. They break down the lesson a little bit more from that high-level view to more conversational. And then from there, they finish with non-competitive physical activity. So for a majority of our programs, it's running. However, we have introduced different program types. So there's yoga, there's art, there's cross training, with the overall goal that girls learn how to work hard to set a goal and achieve it.
How long has BioGirls been around?
We've been around since 2013.
2013. Yeah, so you probably have a lot of people who have grown up and...
Mm-hmm. We're in a super unique spot where a lot of girls who've gone through the program have actually graduated out of the program and returned as volunteers, which is truly a full circle moment that they can give back to a program that shaped a lot of their childhood.
And how long have you been at BioGirls?
I've been with BioGirls, it'll be 6 years.
6 years. So what's been some memorable moments? What stands out to you in your time there?
Gosh.
6 years is a long time to be
It is a
somewhere
long
these days.
time. I know, I'm old. It's always been my favorite to literally volunteer with the girls. Working there is phenomenal as well, but it's at that site level where you see the transformation in each girl. And one of my favorite stories to date is there was a girl who went through our program, really shy, really nervous, and by the end of the program, she was a totally different kid. And one story that her mom shared with us was that she had stood up for a kid on the playground who was getting bullied. And when her mom asked why, she said, "It's because I'm a bio girl. It's just what we do."
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's a good tagline right there. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so how can people be involved in BioGirls?
Yeah, so volunteering they are our bread and butter. That's how we can bring our program to so many kids. And so there's 2 different volunteer roles. One is a site director. So it's essentially someone who raises their hand and says, "I want to facilitate this program in my community for kids by me." So they kind of lead the charge. And then from there, they need a bunch of mentors who are also volunteers who help really build that connection with the girls. So that's on the volunteer side. You can also register your kids for BioGirls. So we're for girls grades 2 through 6. And like I said, we've got 120 program locations. Here in Fargo, I still think there's one who starts this month, next month, October. So there's still one more chance to get in BioGirls this year. Otherwise, in the beginning of the year is kind of our busiest time for kids to sign up for the program.
So if you're a parent and you want to sign up for BioGirls, what's the process? Is it a application? Is there a fee?
So if you jump to our website, you can look at all of our locations and find a program near you. As for fee, we have an approach where we offer financial aid to those who need it. And so right within registration, if cost is an issue for your family, you can choose the dollar amount that works for you, all the way down to $0. And we do this to reduce barriers for girls, to make sure that every girl can and will go through our program.
That's amazing. So do you do a lot of outreach to schools or other youth groups? Or
We do have different forms of outreach that we do, and our volunteers, I think Brynn had mentioned it earlier, they just do such a phenomenal job. It's the word of mouth. It's the transformations. It's hearing that, you know, your aunt's cousin went through BioGirls. Like, we've had tremendous growth that way. And so we do have a lot of word of mouth growth.
And so obviously as a nonprofit, part of it is fundraising and having an annual party. And so you have a big event coming up.
Yes, our gala.
Yeah, the gala. So is it gala or gala? Because every time I say it, it's something
gala,
different.
and I just roll with it.
Yeah, maybe in Minnesota.
Whatever floats your boat.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us about that. When is that? August?
Yeah, nope.
October 9th, I mean?
October 9th, yep. And it'll be at the Butler Arena in West Fargo. There's still some tickets left. We're closing in on that window. It's a celebration of our year and kind of sets us up for success to reach as many girls as we can in the year to come. So tickets are available online right now. You can purchase a ticket. Come see a little bit about our program. We tell a lot of stories. There's some bidding and gaming, and it's just a really fun, impactful night.
And so the Butler Arena, that's at the fairgrounds?
Yes, it is at the fairgrounds.
And so is it fancy? One of those things you dress up for?
Yes, yep. We say,
do you have to wear a crown or a tiara?
We might have
we
to.
might have somebody there with that? That's good.
Yeah, no, it'll be semi-formal, so whatever that looks like to you.
Yeah.
Don't turn anybody away.
And so is it just adults, or do you highlight the girls there as
it's
well?
an adult-only event. We do feature stories from the girls, but just with the nature of the event, it's an adult-only, 21 plus, yep.
So tell me about some other experiences you've had with BioGirls as they've gotten older. Have they come back and be mentors? Have they come back and has anybody had their child yet and enter into the program?
No, we're not there yet. That's going to be
right?
the coolest. We have to keep a pulse
like
on
second
that for
generation,
sure.
Yeah.
I think.
Let's see, 6th grade. Probably not. You don't want that yet.
The coolest connection I can think of in that light would be a mentor who mentored a participant.
Oh.
That participant is now a mentor, and she mentors her original mentor's daughter.
So how many people do you have at BioGirls? Because they're in 120 spots, like that's a big
Yep.
program.
So we're a small and mighty staff. There's 15 of us, but in terms of volunteers, there's over 1,000 every year.
Oh, wow.
And so that truly is what brings our program to life.
Yeah. I mean, I run a nonprofit. The volunteer management is a task in itself.
Absolutely.
Sometimes tougher than staff.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So we have Brynn Olson with us, who has made BioGirls a part of her life and a part of her platform. I guess maybe Mason, one thing on that, how do you ask people to help talk about BioGirls? I mean, do you give people, advocates and champions, things to go out and say, or?
I think we do a phenomenal job of it's the experience on the individual. And so when Brynn talks about how she personally mentored, that's the best kind of talking points that we can give someone, is to truly experience what the program is. And so I think we do a good job of making that experience easy for volunteers to show up and facilitate. And oftentimes a lot of our volunteers turn around and say, man, I could have used this when I was a kid. And so the connection is there. They're able to tell our story in a light of why it's important to them. And I think that's been truly phenomenal.
So when you sign up, you do a 90-minute session. Do you sign up for like a series, or how does?
Yeah, so each location, they meet 12 times. So for Brynn in Thief River, she would have signed up and stayed with the program for the 12 weeks. And that's really important because of the bond that the girls build with their mentors.
So do girls come back every year? Is it a program they keep signing up for? Or?
Yep, so our curriculum is on a 3-year rotation, and so you can participate as a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grader, and the lessons are going to be a little different each time. And we love the continuity of that as well, because even a lesson that you learned in 2nd grade, by the time that you're in 6th, it's hitting a little bit different.
Okay, so if you don't have a kid, you don't want to go to the gala, can't be a mentor for some reason, you can still give, right? You
absolutely can give. So if you go on our website, we have a program called Faithful Friends. And through that, for $12 a month, you are supporting a girl's experience in BioGirls. So I would say that is the best way to start out getting involved from a financial standpoint.
That's a pretty low barrier.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting. Okay, so when we come back, we're going to have both of you talk about being a mentor, maybe share some more stories of what that's meant to you personally, and also what it does for the girls in your program. Welcome back to Rocky's Downtown Hour. I'm Rocky Schneider. I have 2 guests in the studio with me. Our Miss Downtown Fargo, newly crowned last week, our first ever, Brynn Olson, and then also Macy Kramer, the marketing director with Bio Girls. And so they're both in studio because part of Brynn's platform is her work with Bio Girls as a mentor and helping get that message out to the public as well. So Macy, one more time, what is Bio Girls for those that are just tuning in?
Yeah, so BIO stands for Beautiful Inside and Out. We have a program for girls grades 2 through 6 with a goal of improving their mental wellness through empowerment of self and connection with others.
Yeah, and self-esteem is so important, obviously, and we've all had those times where we felt really confident, other times where we maybe not so much. It's like I have a 13-year-old daughter, and I try to tell her that, life's made up of those 10 seconds of bravery, over and over again that you have to do, and finding when that's weak, that's tough. And so these programs that you have introduce young ladies to all sorts of situations and figure out how to feel better about themselves, feel better, more confident, and move forward.
Absolutely.
Which is sort of the same mission as Miss America pageant as well. It was fun to see last weekend all the women come out, and getting up and interviewing in front of people is terrifying. And so you guys had to stand there and just answer all of our questions.
Exactly. And going up on a stage and not really knowing what you're getting into, especially if it's your first pageant, just taking that leap because you know that it will pay off in the future.
So you were very confident and you knew all about Bio Girls when you came in, but you got a lot of questions. Were you worried about what questions we were going to ask?
Honestly, I practice, but I wasn't really worried about the Bio Girls questions because I've gotten feedback that in an interview, I feel like my passion for the program really comes out, and getting to share even some personal stories and some testimonies from the girls that I have gained over the past 4 years being a mentor is so special to me, and I'm always willing to talk about it.
Yeah, so our private interviews we had with each of the ladies, was longer than you get on stage. On stage, you get one quick question, right? And it's like, well, that's it, and I kind of wondered, but the interviews were more fun because you really got to talk about your passion for Bio Girls. And so maybe if you could share with the listeners about what does Bio Girls mean to you?
It means a lot to me because being a mentor 4 times, I didn't really know exactly what I was getting into when I started this program. There was just some of the other mentors who it was their first year having it in Thief River Falls, and they said, hey, I think that you'd be good as a junior mentor, and we want you to try it. And so I said, well, I guess I can go for it. And getting paired with those girls and really being able to see the growth and change in them and learning all of these different life lessons each week and seeing their confidence growing through our physical activity. And I even saw in myself that learning these different lessons, I could apply it to my own life as a mentor. And so it's really important, even at all ages, we're teaching these girls these life lessons so young, and they can take that with them through the rest of their lives.
And so you're coming from Thief River, and now you're in Fargo, and so you're active with the Fargo chapter, whatever it's called here. How is it different? Is it pretty similar from city to city, or is there differences?
So the difference that I saw between doing 3 years as a mentor in Thief River Falls versus last year I was a mentor in Fargo was I switched which type of physical activity we were doing. And so in Thief River Falls, we were training for a 5K, and it was super fun, and the mentors get really involved, and we train with the girls each week. And then I saw that same thing happen in Fargo. We train with the girls. We really worked through it with them, but we were doing cross training. And so that was something that I wasn't super familiar with. And so I think that really gave a lot of comfort to the girls, especially because it's kind of hard when you're comparing yourself to maybe a mentor who knows everything about it, but a lot of us did not know what we were doing. So we were all in it together. Yeah,
and we've all probably trained for runs and things. It can get monotonous too. So cross training is definitely helpful.
Yeah.
Breaks it up a little bit. So what else do mentors do, Macy, that are involved with this other than train for 5Ks?
Yeah.
What do you look for in a mentor?
Honestly, if I had to sum up what our mentors do best is they are a cheerleader for the girls in their small group. And when you think about it really big picture, how important it is to have a role model that's not your parents or your teachers. At the end of the day, it's one more person that believes in them as a kid. And that in and of itself can be life-changing.
I think it's also really important because as a mentor, you are also a safe place for those girls. And I've had so many young girls open up to me and tell me things about their home life or how they're feeling about themselves or different misconceptions that they have about being a young girl in today's society. And so being able to be kind of a lifeline to them is so important as a mentor.
Yeah, and I mean, as a parent, you experience that where you tell your kid something and they won't listen because you're the parent. But having anybody else say it and they're like, oh, did you know this? And you're like, well, that's what I've been trying to tell you. And so I think that's just amazing to introduce those opportunities. Where do mentors come from? I mean, are they all students? Are they all professionals? Are they, all walks of life?
I think it comes across the board. I think there's a lot of women who have children in the program that's their draw. But I think also, to Brynn's point, it's people who want to be involved within the community. And a lot of our volunteers say, man, I wish I had this when I was that age. And so that's a big chunk of our volunteers as well, is they're looking to make that change for the next generation, especially with Bio Girls being a place that isn't competitive. There's still goals set, and we talk about tough issues that way, but it's not another extracurricular that they are striving to compete in. It's more of a place that they feel they belong. A lot of girls come out of Bio Girls and say, that's a place for me, and not striving to be a version of themselves that isn't here today.
Yeah, and so for people, thinking of signing up their kid or telling their nieces or nephews or anything about it, or if they work with a group of young girls, I was going to ask, what's a typical girl that enters the program? But there probably is no typical girl that enters the program. It comes from lots of everywhere.
There's really not. And I think one thing that Bio Girls does really well is we're both preventive and interventive. So like I had talked about, maybe girls don't need the specific lesson at the time that we're teaching it. 2 years down the road, it might be really relevant. And so we do a good job at preparing girls with this toolkit, hypothetical toolkit, for how they navigate tough friendship issues, or how they stand up for themselves, how they build those base values and know that they can lean on that in times of struggle.
So when you're pairing, when the girls enter the program and they get divided up into their groups, do you have a strategy on how you divide them up?
So typically, if we can, we try to group kids with kids they don't know. And so everybody's got a level playing field, and it's really unique to see the different bonds that form from small group to small group. We do keep them age specific, as the conversations kind of teeter when you think of a second grader and a sixth grader. So that's one way that we divvy them out. But I think it's really unique to see them build that friendship in a place where they're talking about such important things on, emotions and what their friendships look like. So that's kind of how we approach that.
No, that's so neat. I know, just taking kids to the playground for years now, it's always amazing when some other kid walks up and it's like, hey, do you want to play with me? And you're like, thank you for doing that. Where it's like, and just learning to be able to make those relationships when you don't know somebody is so crucial.
Absolutely. And it's really fun too. A lot of our lessons have a mantra that go with them. So I was doing a couple interviews, and last year, I think the number one favorite mantra was throw kindness like confetti. So that one just sticks, and the kids, they really run with that. And you think about how important that is for scenarios like being the one that invites somebody to be a part of what they're doing. I think the piece that's really important is the connection. So being kind is one of our taglines that we use all the time. And I do think Bio Girls come out on the other side knowing that they're very kind.
That's great. So Brynn Olson, this is your platform. What do you hope people learn throughout your year as Miss Downtown Fargo? And after you win Miss America, obviously you'll continue to talk about it, but what do you want people to learn?
I think the main thing I want them to learn about Bio Girls is just what we do and why we're important. I think really getting our story out and getting the stories of these girls, and even my personal stories of how my experience has been as a mentor, is so important, and that we approach these hard topics that these girls will carry with them through the rest of their lives.
Okay, so we're just going to follow up because we have 2 minutes left here. When's the state competition for Miss North Dakota?
It is in June. I think it's like the second weekend in June. And so I'm really excited for that, because this is my first time competing as a Miss, my first time competing in North Dakota. So it'll be a completely new experience for me.
Well, that's exciting. So how do people follow your journey?
They can go to Miss Downtown Fargo ND on Instagram, and also Miss Brynn Olson on Instagram.
So if somebody wants to support your journey and support your mission and support Downtown Fargo, how do they do that?
Yeah, you can follow along on my journey on Instagram, and I'll also be having a spot fund come up for my fundraising for the Miss North Dakota pageant, and also raising money for my ad pages that's coming up, hopefully pairing with some small businesses.
Well, that's exciting, and I'm excited to see you downtown at all of our different events, and we'll try to figure out if we can do a live stream next June at Broadway Square or something of the state competition and cheer you on. And we're just happy to have you downtown, happy to have you at NDSU and in town, and everything you're doing for Bio Girls is pretty amazing.
Thank you.
Otherwise, we should get you downtown at the market tomorrow. It's 10 to 2 at Broadway Square and 2nd Avenue there. So everybody loves the market. But Macy, the other question I always ask people on my show is give a shout out to something you like about downtown, either, if your favorite restaurant, favorite coffee shop, somebody doing something cool, favorite art, whatever it can be, anything.
I have a dear friend who just opened a juice shop in downtown Fargo, Tara
Fresh.
Walker. Yes, Fresh. That is my favorite spot to go.
Very cool. So where is Fresh at?
I think it's across, gosh, I'm really bad at street names. The same street, is it 2nd?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
you
works.
would know.
Yeah, it's downtown. Google it. You'll find it.
Google
Yeah.
it.
It's fresh.
Yeah, phenomenal juice.
It is good juice. Okay, well, otherwise, hope everybody has a good weekend and throws kindness out there like confetti to everybody you see. Wave and smile and have a great weekend, everybody.